Exposing the strength and vulnerability and shattering the silence around men's mental health. We're two guys creating a space where men can talk, support, and uplift one another. In a world that often misunderstands us, we're here to break the stigma. Join the conversation, empower yourself, and let's redefine what it means to be a man. This is the Untamed Truth Podcast. Tune in, speak out, and let's grow together. The Untamed Truth. So today, I thought we could get together and go over pretty much what the podcast is all going to be about.
Yeah, I mean, we got to let them know what's going on and why we're here and what it's all about.
Yeah, so I came to you one day and I was like, hey man, let's do a podcast. And I really want to do men's issues, you know?
Yeah, men's mental health is a big deal, and it's something that we deal with daily, and we always have.
Yeah, so, let's hear a little bit about yourself, and then we'll continue on.
Well, I'm 40, going on 41. I got 2 kids. I'm a widower, however that is. My wife died. We were separated at the time, dealing with a bunch of issues and stuff, and a lot of depression and all that after my dad died 6 years ago. So it's been about 7 or 8 years now of pretty treacherous, travels through life itself. So it just, it is what it is.
Yeah, so these last few years have been pretty rough on you.
Yep, it's been a nightmare, to say the least.
Yeah. Which I think we all go through different things. Like myself, everybody goes through issues. Might not be big to somebody else, but in your own life, they're big issues,
Yeah, I mean, you might have what other people consider a molehill, but I mean, for somebody, it could be a mountain, and getting past that shit it's not easy. Especially not in today's climate or the climate we grew up in. Like, men's mental health was kind of something that just got pushed on the back burner, or it was a suck it up buttercup kind of thing, and you just put some dirt on it and moved on.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I grew up.
And that's why the climate is in the mess that it's in right now, because men's mental health has never been an issue that men want to deal with, or that society wants to deal with in general.
Yeah, that is for sure. So, just a little bit about me. I'm 38, single. I don't have the family, so my views are a little bit different than yours. That's one reason I wanted to do this with you, because your views coming from a family standpoint is a little bit different than being single.
Yeah, 2 sides to the same messed up coin.
Yeah, so check this out. I found this out when I was looking up some mental health stuff. 25% of the population is diagnosed with a mental disorder. PTSD, bipolar disorder, OCD, social anxiety, clinical depression, or schizophrenia.
Yeah, I've dealt with some of those schizophrenia people, let me tell you.
But check this out. This stat does not include 3 categories, which suffer general anxieties.
Oh
my
Punk.
goodness,
spit it out.
Yeah. Seasonal depression. Have not sought help, and or have not been diagnosed.
Yeah, a lot of everything goes super untreated, because it's the day-to-day life that I got to go to work, I got to provide for my family, I got to do this, I got to do that, and your own mental health, and in my instance, like, my own health just went to the wayside because it was a non-issue, because I had other more important things that I had to take care of, like taking care of my family and putting food on the table for my kids and a roof over our head. So, I mean, I didn't pay attention to the fact that even though I lost a significant amount of weight, I just thought, hey, I'm not a diabetic anymore. Well, obviously that's not how it works, because now I'm blind.
Yeah.
So not taking care of myself and not taking care of my health has literally made me blind. I have diabetic retinopathy, and it could be 3 to 5 years before I can even drive again.
So if you had help, do you think you could have prevented a lot of that?
Had help in what way? Mental health help?
Yeah, like if you'd known what was happening and was able to reach out.
So I don't know that. See, I've dealt with depression since I was a kid. So like for me, it's not really that big a deal to be depressed. It comes in waves, So like to see it on the outside, you would never know that I dealt with depression for 90% of my life. Like no one would have ever known that, because I'm the funny fat friend guy that makes everybody laugh, and I don't necessarily talk. I talk about my feelings. Don't get that twisted, because I'm a crybaby, but I don't talk about the deep seated shit that's that really does bother me. Like, am I enough, and am I messing my kids up? Like I just don't talk about it, because it's a hurtful subject. That am I doing what's right? But who really knows? Like, if I had help, would I have reached out? Would I have gotten any better? I think it was a money situation.
Yeah.
So I don't think that just talking to somebody or having mental health help would have changed anything, because I'm really stubborn, and I just thought what I wanted to think and didn't take care of myself, and here I am. I can't really blame anybody but me for not taking care of myself, but at the same time, I was worried about making money and paying the bills and making sure my kids had clothes and making sure my kids had new shoes or the games they wanted, which is not a necessity, but I always want to make everything a little bit better than what I had for my kids, so that, and don't get me wrong, I was a spoiled ass brat for 10 years of my life, because I was an only child until my sister was born, and my parents did great. They got me everything I wanted. They did too much. And that's why when I was a teenager, I just went completely off the rails and did what I wanted to do, and got on drugs real bad and became an alcoholic and an asshole. And I'm still an asshole. Don't get it. Don't make a mistake and think that I'm not. But, I didn't have any thoughts on getting help when it came to that, because it was a money thing. I couldn't afford the insurance through my work. So I didn't get the insulin I needed, and I did what I had to do.
Yeah, which I think that we all don't talk about, like a lot of stuff that maybe we should.
Absolutely.
Find somebody that we can talk to, whether it be a friend or somebody else.
Yeah, and that's another big reason for doing this podcast, is like we want people, and not just men, I mean everybody, we want people to have someone that they can reach out to that's going to be unbiased in any kind of situation, but not going to be judgy. Now, I might judge you a little bit just because I'm an asshole, like I said, but for the most part, we've dealt with a lot. I know I've dealt with a lot of the problems that everybody deals with. Having somebody that is talking about the things that are going on in your life that may or may not be a struggle that you've dealt with, like, it definitely helps.
Yeah, I agree with that. So check this out, because I thought this was staggering. So in 2017, they did a
7 or 17. Make up your mind.
Oh, it's 17.
Okay, 2017.
Yeah, it's 2017.
I was gonna say, because in 2007,
2007 was way back there.
Dude, I don't even remember much from 2007. I ain't gonna lie. That's too long ago. I got horrible memory anyway.
So 2017, 792 million worldwide reported to have a mental disorder.
So wait, they reported, what you're saying is they reported that? Like people did? Or mental institutions and doctors and stuff reported that so many patients they dealt with a mental issue?
So the stat that I looked up, it just said that they reported. Worldwide it was reported, which comes out to 10% of the world's population. The world.
Yeah.
10%.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
but 792 million. That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people. But we all deal with trauma and other things differently. So it's not like I don't know, I can't say for sure, but it's not like we're born with a lot of the issues that we end up getting and giving to ourselves. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot, like I never dealt with anxiety until I was going through my divorce. I didn't even know what anxiety was, really.
You do know that everybody has anxiety. It's just different levels for everybody.
Yeah, well, I didn't deal with it like on a extreme level.
Yeah.
Like I never dealt with it.
I never have either.
Yeah, well, when I was when all this stuff went down and I started dealing with what was happening in my life, a situation that I never thought would happen, I started getting anxiety, and I didn't even know what it was. Like I was kind of freaking out. Like, am I having a panic attack? Like, what is going on with me? And I started talking. I don't remember who I was talking to. One of my friends. I was like, dude, like I'm freaking out. Like right now, I don't know what's going on. Like me, the people person, the social butterfly, the person that's always bouncing around to everybody and talking to this and that and the other. I couldn't stand to be around more than 5 or 6 people. And I'm talking people that I'm close to.
Right.
Just a big crowd. I could not, and I still to this day struggle with being around more than 4 or 5 people at a time. And that's never been me. But like I was saying, I think a lot of the things that we put on ourselves, the trauma we do to ourselves, I think that also adds to mental health issues that we have. Now, whether it intensifies those or whether it brings them on when we didn't have any kind of, symptoms of that in the first place, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Yeah, that's something else we got to say. We're not doctors. We're just 2 guys that have been through some stuff that are talking about the stuff we've been through and talking about some of the statistics we found and some of the books that we have read or are in the middle of reading that, talk about mental health, and not just men's mental health, but mental health in general. But we are going to mainly focus on the things we know. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to talk about postpartum depression because I don't know shit about it. I haven't had a kid. I don't know anything about it. Now, I can tell you what it's like to deal with a person with postpartum, but we're not going to get into that kind of shit because, now we may have a guest that comes on that knows these things, and they may talk about it, and they may talk about it, in excess. We don't know. We're just kind of rolling with the punches right now.
Yeah, so you brought up a good point. Talking about things that we don't know. Like, I like research. I like looking up stuff, learning new things.
Well, I'm glad you like research because I do not.
I love learning new things.
Good. Well, you can do the research and I'll just listen. You can bounce it off me and
bounce it off you. We'll just talk about it.
I'm not a research person. Like I'll read. I like to read, but I would rather read a book on this that somebody wrote from their perspective and get what I can get from that. The statistics part, I ain't gonna remember it. I got the worst memory you've ever seen.
Statistics, all that, love it. Just I like deep dive a little bit more.
I like deep diving on some stuff, but most of the time it's like aliens and stuff.
Aliens?
Oh, dude, it's like the tinfoil stuff.
You gonna go tinfoil on us?
Oh, dude, I love some of the tinfoil stuff. Like I'll be down like the Diddy hole. Did you ever go down the Diddy hole? Like all the stuff about Diddy.
No, I didn't go down that one.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I've lost days of my life doing like researching. Now it's probably all bullshit. Who knows, really?
Now I might not go full tinfoil, but I might go conspiracy theory on you.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm getting. I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat. I don't care. I don't care that much, but I do be researching that kind of stuff, especially when something new pops up. And like they're posting it all over the place. I'm like, is this real or did somebody make a video just messing with people? Because the age of information is ridiculous now. You don't know what's real and what's fake. You got AI. You got all the media turning people green to make them look like they're sick and stuff, using just different, shades and values in the video. It's like, come on, dude.
Oh man, that AI. Oh. They have gotten so good with it. Like they have started making videos of people like. And it's so good because you actually think it's actual real people now.
That's wild.
That's how real it looks.
See, I haven't gotten that deep into that stuff.
Oh, it's crazy. So you were talking about so we don't get off topic here. You were talking about bringing on guests. I think we should really do that. And
I don't have anybody like lined up or in mind technically yet. But I want to get I'd love to get a professional in and have a professional, like a mental health professional, or even if we can get someone to call in who's in the field, or I don't care to have, addiction specialist or, I've dealt with addiction basically my entire adult life. Not because I've been on anything in in the last 25 years, but because when I was a teenager, I got into some stuff that I shouldn't have got into. And, I don't struggle with it necessarily because I've been clean for 25 years, but I think that's something that always has a potential to pop back up. And I learned that the hard way with, my ex-wife or my whatever you want to call her. I never dreamed that, she would get back on drugs, and she was never big on drugs anyway, like maybe smoking a little weed, but to get on to hard stuff and IV intravenous stuff, that's something that I never dreamed I would have to go through. So, addiction's always a big thing, and it's always a big problem. So getting an addiction specialist on would be really cool, I think, just to talk about, how that affects not just men but everybody, but how it affects men exponentially more than women. I think. I don't know. You'd have to do you some research. And, tell me what kind of statistics, or what the statistics say about male versus female addiction rates.
Yeah, I don't know them offhand. I'd have to look that up.
Definitely something for another episode. We can focus on that for probably an entire episode.
No, you could go addiction entire episode.
You could do a whole podcast on addiction, I'd say.
So, but there's a lot of different topics I think we should cover. Especially because when I was younger, things were a lot different than they are now.
Oh, absolutely. Everything's different now. Everything.
One big thing is, growing up, you're not always told to man up, but everyone you see, no crying, Yeah,
boys don't cry.
Yeah, boys don't cry.
Yeah.
I was allowed to be me, but at the same time, I didn't connect with my dad as much because I was raised by my mom for the most part because my dad worked a lot.
Yeah.
Which I love him to death. But he did work a lot. So I didn't see him a whole lot. I was raised by my mom.
Well, what did your dad do?
Oh, he was a trucker.
So he was gone for days at a time.
So he was out on the road when I was little.
Yeah.
When I got a little bit older, he was able to be home more because, he built everything up.
Yeah, he got a better job or started making more money at the job he was at so he could afford to work 3 days a week or 5 days a week instead of 7.
Exactly.
Yeah, completely understandable. I was kind of in the same boat. I was raised by my mom for the most part because my dad worked all the time. My dad ran a full-time business on the side, and he worked for a job during the day. So he would leave his day job and go to his night job, and he would work at his night job for 4 or 5 hours after work. So he'd leave his day job at 5, get to his night job, and work from 5 to 9, and then come home. And by the time he got home, it was 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I was already in the bed. So I didn't get to see my dad a whole lot until I was old enough to start working with him. Now, once I turned 12 or 13, and I started working with him, I saw him a lot more, and I connected with him a whole lot more, and ended up being part of his business that he ran on the side. So that was a lot of cool stuff that happened there, and a lot of changes in getting to be raised by my dad as a young adult and a teenager. But by that time, I'd already had all the crap that I'd done to myself, and all the I was smoking weed, doing cocaine, drinking, all the stuff that I was never supposed to touch, but I'd already dabbled in it. So
I think a lot of people from our generation was doing a lot of stuff we probably shouldn't have been doing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's more people that did do it than people that didn't do it. That's for sure. I mean, I know the circle of friends I had. I mean, some of them never got away from it, and they're still to this day doing the same stuff we were doing as teenagers.
Yeah.
And that shit just blows my mind. I don't understand how you don't want better for yourself. I get it. I get that addiction is addiction, but I always wanted more. I always wanted to do better. I always wanted to make somebody proud. Somebody. I mean, it was my dad for a long time, and I spent a whole lot of time in my life trying to make my dad happy and sacrificing my own happiness for it, because I always wanted to do something in music, editing, something like that, but I just jumped into the family business because I felt bad for my dad, and I put my dreams on the back burner and never did what I actually wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make that difference for my kids, so that they can pick and choose what they want to do and not push them into doing the things that they necessarily have to do to survive. So hopefully I'm doing a better job than my dad. Some days I don't feel like I do, and some days I know I do. So that's a struggle in itself too, talking about the difference between me and you with a family, me having a family, having 2 kids and having a fiance, and trying to juggle all of this on the tops of going blind. And I've been working since I'm 13, and now since July or August, I haven't worked a day. I've had like 14 eye surgeries if you count all the laser, and 1 major eye surgery on my right eye, and it's just bad, man.
Yeah. I've worked since I was, since I could push a lawnmower.
Yeah.
Because that's when my dad was like, okay, you can mow, so now
get a job.
Now you gonna mow.
Yeah.
And
well, I was out mowing. I lived in the trailer park. I'm a trailer park kid, so I was out. I knew a lot of the people there because I'd been there for forever. So when I was 12 or 13, I was out mowing yards, man. I literally, at 15 years old, I'd saved up enough money, and my mom and dad helped me whenever I didn't have exactly enough to do it. But I'd saved up the money to buy enough studio time to record an album. And it's dumb, but at 15, I recorded a full studio album in a studio in Berea.
Yeah. See, one thing I always want to do is I always want to do better than my dad. I think that's just a normal thing. You want to do better than your dad. Of course, I'm single. I ain't found that right one. You know what I'm saying? Like, dating is totally different from what it used to be.
Just the human connection isn't even as close to what it was when I was growing up. When I started dating, you can't you can't go to a bar and pick up a partner.
If you go to a bar, you don't want the bar women.
No, exactly. You don't want to deal with what you're going to pick up when you pick up from a bar.
But I mean that goes from like when we were younger, the bars had different women.
Yeah.
And now the bars have the women that you really don't want now.
Yeah.
And then to find the women that you want, I'm still looking. So,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily know like what the dating world looks like nowadays, and maybe that's somebody else we can have on. Is somebody that's in the dating world. That's actually out there like every weekend trying to find a partner. Not just a partner, but a person. So maybe that's
that's the thing. You can find a partner.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I can find a partner.
That's the easiest part.
The thing is, I want to find someone that'll last.
Yeah, you want to find a wife, not a partner.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the as far as sexual partner, that's not a hard thing to find at all. I mean, with the internet and the dating apps, and I mean they have apps specifically designed just for hooking up. And like to me, that I don't know, maybe it's just me being as old school as I am. That's disgusting.
So the problem with the apps it's pretty much a lose-lose for most guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, unless you are good looking, have a good job, and you're over 5'6", because, I'm short.
Pine's a short king.
I am short.
What are you, 5'5"?
5'6".
5'6"?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not much more than you. I'm just 5'10".
Yeah, but 5'10".
Yeah, I mean that's average, right?
I mean they look at 5'10" and to 6 foot, and they're like, close.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's a whole different world. So
and if you lie on it, then it's even if you're like I'm 5'8", and you show up and you're like, what up?
I mean, what am I gonna do? Wear like
platform boots?
Platforms, yeah.
I mean, you could. I mean, I'm 5'8" with these boots on, so I didn't lie.
I don't know if that go over too well.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing, though. I mean, I've got 2 goddaughters, and one of them, I don't talk to them very much, but every picture these girls post now is a filtered selfie or something, and I'm like, you do not look like that. I don't get me wrong. I love my godchildren. Like they're good kids. They're great. They become great parents. But I'm like, is that how all the girls are nowadays? They use the filters, and
dude.
But you can't say you're 5'8" with those boots on. No, they're gonna be like, oh, you lied.
Oh man, they use filters. They use there's different ways to pose their bodies and look at the camera and stuff, and like what you see in those pictures is not what most of these girls look like if you actually do meet them.
Yeah. Well, I would suspect nothing less with the fakeness that's become, society today. So many people are fake. Like, you can't.
And man, I've tried these apps, and like, they don't work for like a normal person. Like, I don't think I'm bad looking, but I'm not the best looking guy around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I don't get a lot of people that'll talk, and then when you do, it's very short.
And they're creepers.
And it's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm talking to a child on there, and like, I don't, like, it's just.
They can't hold a meaningful conversation.
Yes, there's no conversation.
Yeah, it's wild. Or you message them or something. I'd say, I have friends that talk about this, or used to. I don't know about now, but you'd message somebody, or they'd message you, and then 5 days later they message you back, and you're like, did you, were you in a coma for 5 days? Like, what is your problem? Like, I see you, like, if you're friends with people on Facebook that you talk to, like, just regular friends, and you see them posting 5 times in a week, but you've messaged them, and they don't respond for, like, a month, you're like, I know your shit's working, like, because you've posted 15 selfies, but you're not responding to my text. Like, what is your problem, people? Well, and I have that with just regular friends, like, not just.
Well, that's just a normal thing anymore. But I mean, if you think about it, man, we come from the age of we watched cell phones. You remember those Nokias?
Oh yeah, I had.
You couldn't destroy them.
No, my dad had one, and he dropped it in the pig lot, and it still worked after the pigs chewed on it.
And we were before that.
Yeah,
like
I had pagers. I had a pager.
I remember car phones
in a bag. Yep, for real.
So we grew up, watching all this stuff, right? From then to now. Yeah. And now you got a computer in your hand that has more information than you could ever go through.
Yeah, like as a kid, I had encyclopedias. When I had to do a book report for school, whenever I was in elementary school and middle school, that's what we used.
Yeah.
It was a book, a set of, what is it, Britannica? What is Encyclopedia Britannica or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I used those. That's all I could use because that's all the access to information we had outside of going to the public library and finding like non-fiction books about the topic we had to do the report on.
Now you can just type it into a web search.
Yeah, and you can find all kinds of false information along with the real.
Well, you gotta kind of sift through anymore because you really don't know. Like, even with stats, like I love looking up stats, but I'll go through several different websites because you wanna compare, see what they're all saying, because some of them will be different. And I hate to say it, but politics have changed a lot.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't really care about. I think they're all crooked. I have my views on stuff, and I'm sure everybody has their own views on whatever, but I don't really care. It's not really going to change. Nothing's going to change. It's too corrupt now, I think, personally. But who knows, really? Like politics is just one of those things I don't even care to discuss with people most of the time.
That's a topic I usually don't discuss, but it plays a role in a lot of stuff nowadays. Though.
Oh, absolutely.
That's one big problem.
Oh yeah, like you have to literally walk on eggshells when you're meeting new people because you don't know if you have to call them he, she, them, they, them. And look, I'm not talking down to those people, but I do believe that there's a lot of mental health issues that comes with that whole depiction of what people think they are.
I think there's some truth in that, and I think some of it's not just all mental. I think
it's a hard topic to discuss.
It is,
because you don't want to get blackballed by the world for having an opinion on anything, but at the same time, that's what people are. We are opinionated beings. Like, we have a thought process, and everybody's is different. That's what makes everything so cool. Like, think about it. We only had one kind of art. There was only one kind of music. We have millions of different genres of everything. And it's all good. It's okay. You do you. When it comes to that, you do you. I don't need to hear about it twice a day on the internet, which you do.
All the time.
But if that's what you're into and that's what you like and that's what you have to have, that's what makes your world go around, then by all means, do you. But
Yeah.
I ain't getting into it with them.
I think who you like is just who you're attracted to. That's just part of you.
Yeah, I agree to that. Like, it is what it is. Like, some guys like guys, some chicks like chicks. Do you? Like,
But
I don't care.
But I do think some of them
are doing it for attention.
Well, not only that, but I think some of them do have mental health issues.
Oh,
but
it's clear.
But a lot of us have mental health issues now.
And that's just how it decided to show its form in their world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's how it came out in their world, and that's fine. It's something that they can get help with, and if but the problem is yet again, what avenues do we have? And you were showing me some stuff earlier that I never knew, and I don't know how old some of these things are. Some of the stuff that you can use to get help. I mean, when I was 13 or 14, if I had something like that, I would have used it for sure.
Oh, you talking about the 988 lifeline?
Yeah, the 988 thing. Like, that would have been something that I 100% took advantage of, because I couldn't talk to my parents. Like you said that you were able to be who you wanted to be. I was not so lucky as to be able to be who I wanted to be. Like, I wanted to pierce my ears, and I wore really weird contacts and weird clothes, and like my family made fun of me for it. They were like, "You're a weirdo, boy."
Well, I mean, they did do restrictions. Like, I couldn't. Well, I wasn't allowed to have tattoos. Wasn't allowed to get piercings. I couldn't watch The Simpsons when I was younger.
I watched The Simpsons, but the TV raised me when my parents were working, though. In the summertime, it was The Neighbor Lady and TV and music as well.
So it was The Simpsons and South Park. Wasn't allowed to watch them.
I watched both of them.
Wasn't allowed.
I still watch those.
Man, so when I got a little bit older, I actually watched them, and I really didn't care for them. I won't lie. No, didn't care for them.
Oh, dude. Some of the South Park episodes are absolutely hilarious. Only a cartoon could say some of the stuff they say. 100%.
They say some crazy
stuff.
stuff.
Oh, it's insane. And it's only gotten worse. I watched a newer episode a couple weeks ago, and dude, I could not believe they put that on TV. I was like, dude, how are these guys not canceled like 1,000 times? And thankfully, we're almost past the era of canceling people. But
well, I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
Well, what I hope they do is open up the free speech again. Let me tell you about this 988 real quick.
Yeah, because I mean, that might be something that somebody that hears this might need.
So you call 988. It's free. So this is from like their website. A trained crisis counselor will listen to your concerns, offer emotional support, and help you navigate your feelings and thoughts. Mental health. They do mental health struggles, emotional distress, alcohol and drug use concerns, or just someone to talk to. Their caring counselors are here for you. You are not alone.
Yeah, and that's a good resource to have for somebody that's going through stuff, because I mean, statistically, I don't know what it is, but like, there's not a lot of closeness with humans anymore, and COVID really changed that dynamic for a lot of things. I mean, people are doing click lists. You don't get any human interaction, which, don't get me wrong, sometimes I love it, and I use it myself sometimes, but that human interaction, like, we're supposed to have that human interaction, and cutting that out, some of the people that didn't have a whole lot of human interaction anyway, like, they're really struggling with any kind of anything.
Oh yeah, and it's let's see right here, 15% of men.
Of men, okay.
Of men. This is just men. Reported to having no close friends, compared to 10% in 1990.
Well, I mean, you think about the 90s, dude. In the 90s, we were out doing stuff with our friends. Like, I don't remember. I mean, I know my curfew was the lights come on, you get home. But we were out with our friends in the 90s. Like, all of the 90s and the early 2000s, I was not in my house.
Yeah, and that comes from what we were talking about earlier about the technology.
Yeah, now kids would rather sit at
so
home and be in their house playing a video game all the time. Which, don't get me wrong, we're gamers, we're nerds, we like to play our video games. But at the same time, like, you got to balance that stuff. And I think that's the hardest part about all this, is learning to balance life with fun, and balance fun with responsibilities. And it's a struggle, not just for men, but for everybody.
Yeah, for one, we did school. Then we get out of school, if you don't go into college.
Yeah.
Which mostly it's women going to college now. A lot of men aren't even going to college.
Well, they're doing a trade, which is what we need.
And then so you get out of school, then what do? You go to work.
Straight to work, 40 hours plus
so
a week.
Now you're working all the time. You know what time? And most of the time we're working to live instead of living
to work.
Yeah. You know, we're not living our lives anymore. A lot of people are just going to work, coming home. I'm barely making it.
So tired they don't have any interaction with their kids or their wife because they're just destroyed tired, or they're working a weird shift. Like I worked a weird shift for a long time, 3 or 4 years, and like on a normal day when I was off work, I just wanted to sleep all day and stay up all night because I was on night shift. I mean, you work night shift.
No, I work night shift for what, 13 plus years.
Yeah, and I mean, it really messed up your social schedule, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, a lot of my friends that I used to hang out with, like I don't hang out with them anymore, and a lot of them haven't talked to them forever because I sleeping, they're awake.
Yeah.
When I'm awake, they're sleeping, and like you just lost touch.
Yeah, and that makes it hard too when you spend that many years on a night shift job. To come back out of that night shift job, it really takes a toll on your mental health. It takes a toll on everything, and friendships, relationships. It definitely isn't. I don't think personally, and I may be wrong, and I'm sure there's some kind of study out there that says, but I don't think that working a graveyard shift is healthy for anybody.
Oh, it's not, because for one, you don't get the vitamins in your body. You don't actually get a sound sleep during the day. Because I actually looked some of this up, because there for a while I got very down and like I didn't want to do anything. Like I got so bad that just getting up off the couch to even go just use the restroom felt exhausting to me.
Yeah.
Like I was just so exhausted. And a lot of that's from no sleep, you know, not getting enough vitamins in your body, you're not eating the correct foods, because I ate a lot of fast food and stuff.
And not just that, but I mean, you think for me when I was working that night shift job, I was living off of Monsters and nicotine.
Oh yeah,
I was smoking a pack or two of Camel Lights or Camel Wides or whatever. Usually it's menthols, because I went back to smoking Camel menthols. But
you went to menthol so people didn't take your cigarettes?
Well, no, I started smoking on menthol cigarettes when I started smoking. I started smoking on Newports, but when I was a kid, Newports were buy one, get one free a pack. So poor kids would get Newports because it was buy one, get one free. I mean, who don't want a free pack of cigarettes when you first start smoking? Me. I'm the one. I wanted the free pack of cigarettes.
When I first started smoking, I just smoked regular cigarettes. Then when I started working, everyone would try to bum.
So you went to menthol.
So I went to menthol so they would quit bumming.
Well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, bub.
Because they usually come up, they like, you got a cigarette? I got menthol. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
well, I prefer a menthol. If I'm going to smoke a cigarette, I want a menthol. And I don't smoke very often. I vape now. But I will have a cigarette every once in a while, and I bum a cigarette off you every once in a while that's a menthol, because I like a menthol cigarette.
Yeah, see, I still smoke them. I'm in the process of quitting.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's something everybody. I mean, I don't think that there's anything wrong with having a cigarette every once in a while, but I was smoking 2 packs a day.
Yeah, but that once in a while, like when I take that one, I'm like, oh, that was so good.
I need another one.
Oh,
and they smell so bad.
They do.
Anyway,
well, I can't smell it, but you know,
I can. I can smell it now worse than ever.
Like I got my nose broke when I was a kid.
Yeah,
my cousin broke my nose. Yes. We were playing, she was in softball, and the ball got thrown. She takes the bat, and when she rears back, busts me in the nose.
That's no bueno. But yeah, so that's what we're going to concentrate on is mental health. Men's mental health is going to be the big thing for us that we concentrate on, because we're men, and we're middle-aged men. I don't think I'm middle-aged. I think I'm at the, I'm old. I feel like I'm 75 sometimes.
I don't know. I think that you're still middle-aged.
Well, I haven't hit 50 yet, so I think 50 is what they used to say is middle-aged, but I don't think I'm making it to 80, bro. So I'm probably a little above middle-aged. Just saying. I'm still in my prime, though. I'm good.
I think you'll make it past that.
I hope not, man.
Modern technology?
They ain't put my head inside a jar or something. I'm out. Like, just let me go. Do not resuscitate.
10 foil right here. If they get the med beds,
Yeah, I'm out. I don't know if that's gonna work.
they'll put you in a med bed and heal you.
Is that an Elon thing?
I don't know. That's one of those tinfoil hat things that I went off on one day.
Yeah, see, I do that too. I mean,
it's so interesting though.
It is. Like, even if it's not real, it's still a good story. It's like, I don't believe some of the scary stories I see, but I mean, I've seen some wild stuff in my day too. Like, couldn't attribute it to anything but ghosts.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. So I'm thinking we do the mental health, and I'm also thinking that we'll talk about other men issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not just about. I mean, a lot of stuff adds to mental health issues with men. So I'm 100% in, and I dig this. I think this is going to be something that other people can use to help them with problems they have going through life, and that's what our hopes are. But we're also going to touch next week. I think we're gonna get on the topic of a book that was written by a female who went into being a male. Like, she turned herself into a male for a report to write a book. She was a journalist who decided that she needed to know what it was like to be a man, and so she did it for a year. After a year of doing it, she wrote the book, and then she committed suicide because she couldn't deal with the repercussions of being a man for a year, which really says something.
Yeah, she went in a real bad spiral. The book's good to read. I've started it.
I've read excerpts, but I haven't read it.
Yeah, if you haven't checked it out, it'd be a good read. It shows a lot of differences between men and women.
Hey, what's the name of the book?
It is Self-Made Man
By
Nora Vincent.
Okay, so we're gonna get into that
next time.
Next time.
So if you would follow us.
Yeah, we're on all the social media platforms. We don't know if TikTok's gonna last. The president brought it back for us for a little while. I don't know how well it is, but we'll link all of our socials on the video that we post on YouTube, and it'll be on our Facebook page. So check us out, and if you like this episode, just tune in next week, and we're going to try to put out an episode every week if we can. If not, it'll be every other week. It just depends on our scheduling issues. But
or the snow right now.
Yeah. My driveway's still a solid sheet of ice.
Or should I say ice?
Yeah, that's more like it, ice. But we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for tuning in.